Remember that hidden corner of the shed where sunlight didn't dare to creep and cobwebs draped like lace? Well, that was where the real garden magic lived. Our grandparents did more than just grow vegetables. They created miracles from the earth using tools that felt like an extension of their hands. Sadly, today we've traded grace for speed and intimacy for efficiency. So, get ready to meet these unsung heroes. Join us as we dust off 10 forgotten heroes that helped our grandparents pull off miracles in the dirt. Number 10. Seed spacer. Back then, gardens weren't just grown, they were composed, and the seed spacer was like a conductor's baton. This tool, similar to the seeding square, helped gardeners plant seeds and seedlings with optimal spacing, reducing effort and increasing yields. It was a brass disc with adjustable holes dropping seeds at precise intervals. With these, it was goodbye to thinning. If you closed your eyes, you could still hear the click-clack sound this tool made. A tiny mechanical melody as Grandma rolled the seed spacer down the freshly turned earth. No electricity, no wires, and most importantly, no fuss. Modern versions still exist, like the stainless steel wheeled ones. However, they lack the feel of those vintage models our grandparents used. For grandparents raised during the Depression era, seed spacers were lifesavers. Tiny heirloom seeds weren't squandered, and every precious piece had its place in the dirt. Number 9. Wheel hoe. Weeds aren't defeated with rage. A good soil is never rushed. And sometimes the smallest tools are the mightiest. Back then, our grandparents' greatest ally against weeds sprouting up was the wheel hoe. The wheel hoe perfectly balanced the power of a plow and the precision of a hoe, creating an effective tool for tilling, removing weeds, and hilling or ridging garden soil. There were no roaring engines here, just a wheel, a set of graceful wooden handles, and an attachable tool, like a cultivator, hoe, or plow, dangling behind. Grandpa would push it like a plow horse down rows, efficiently uprooting weeds while standing tall. After the rain, the wheel would leave these tidy tracks like garden braille. Wheel hoes were popular among our grandparents due to their time and back-saving benefits, which reduced the need for fossil fuels and herbicides. Yet these benefits weren't enough to keep this tool from becoming nothing but a fond memory. It eventually vanished into garages, outshone by tillers that promised effortless tilling of the soil. But some days, even the tiller's roar can't replace the squeak of the axle and the crunch of sliced weeds that came with dragging a wheel hoe across the garden. Number 8. Berry harvester. Picking berries with your hands can be a bit of a hassle. It often comes with a lot of berry damage, but there's a tool to deal with this. Meet the berry harvester, a simple tool designed to make picking berries a lot easier. Instead of our grandparents stabbing their fingers foraging like medieval farmers, the harvester played 3D chess with physics. All Grandma had to do was slide it under the berry clusters and lift, and just like that, the berries came tumbling into the basket. To avoid damage, the harvester's tines ignored the berries and their leaves, meaning you were safe from injured berries. That, in all its glory, was slow harvesting, the kind where kids would gather underneath bushes, eating every fifth berry while Grandma pretended not to notice. Back then, you never bought a proper berry harvester, you inherited one. But now, berry harvesters are back, and they've gotten a little twist. From Etsy woodworkers and craft harvesters to Oxbow machines, now using Grandma's soft catch principle, scaling gentle harvesting to industrial levels. The past is never truly forgotten. Number 7. Dibber. Our grandparents used several tools to create holes in the soil for planting seeds and bulbs. Nothing has been off limits. A stick, a dowel, a shovel handle, and yes, even your fingers would do the trick. However, one tool that has truly stood the test of time is this. Meet the dibber, also known as dibbler or dibble, a pointed tool used to make holes in the soil for planting seeds, seedlings, or bulbs. Though a pointed wooden stick, that doesn't make it any less genius. This weathered stick tapped the earth perfectly. Every hole it poked was a tiny cradle. Too shallow? It becomes a bird buffet. Too deep? And it becomes a seed coffin. This tool was particularly useful for ensuring that seeds and small plants were buried at the correct depth and with proper spacing. Unlike the chaos shovels create, dibbers preserve soil structure. Microbes thrive in undisturbed soil, and dibbers ensure that. Kids would eagerly kneel beside Grandma as she worked her dibber, their eyes wide with curiosity. She'd smile and let them join in, handing them their own clumsy whittled sticks, never quite as graceful as hers, and watching as they mimicked her every move, pretending to understand the magic in her hands. Number 6. Stirrup Hoe. Do you remember the times when getting rid of weeds didn't require the roar of weed whackers, or the nauseating smells of chemical sprays? Just Grandpa, humming hymns, and his trusted stirrup hoe, a rebellious loop of steel that fought weeds so that our grandparents' home garden would flourish. Named for its stirrup-shaped head, this tool would slide just underneath the soil surface, slicing weed roots with a push-pull motion. No bending, no blisters, no disruptive noises. Most importantly, the stirrup hoe minimized soil disturbance by focusing on cutting weeds at the surface. It was suitable for various soil types and for weeding even between rows of plants. With the stirrup hoe, paths between tomatoes stayed clean, and this hoe remained our grandparents' silent but deadly weed assassin. Plus, you can even use the tool to incorporate granular fertilizer into the soil. Ditch the weed burner. Channel Grandma instead. Number 5. Hori-Hori Knife. Who could forget Grandma's trusted pocket samurai? The king of multi-tools, the Hori-Hori Knife, is a versatile Japanese gardening tool renowned for its capabilities in digging, cutting, and planting. The Japanese import, which translates to dig-dig in English, features a stainless steel blade, often sharp on one side and serrated on the other, with a pointed tip. Its design makes it ideal for a variety of garden tasks. This blade was originally forged in the samurai steel tradition. By the 1950s, it had made its way into American gardens, carried home by returning GIs who saw it used by farmers in Osaka, praised in seed catalogs, and passed around at Grandma's plant swaps in exchange for treasured heirlooms. While other tools had just a single job, the Hori-Hori laughed at job descriptions. Need to plant bulbs? Its tapered tip was just perfect for that. You have a little weed problem? Slice, its serrated edge would take care of that. You can even use it to prune small branches or harvest carrots. It lived in Grandma's apron pocket, crusted with soil and ready for anything. Number 4. Bulb Planter. Before bulb augers on drills became a staple in home gardens, there was the simple bulb planter, a gardening tool designed to simplify the process of planting bulbs. It creates a hole of the appropriate depth and size while also removing the soil plug, which can then be used to refill the hole after the bulb is placed. All you had to do was jam it into the soil, twist, and pull out a perfect plug. Drop in your bulb, replace the dirt cap, and voila! Job's done. Our grandparents planted hundreds this way, and their knees barely even touched the ground. A tool so elegantly simple. The best part? Consistent depth meant uniform blooms, and the bulb planter guaranteed just that. This tool helped save time and effort, especially when planting multiple bulbs. But that wasn't all. They minimized disturbance to the surrounding soil, which was helpful when planting among established plants or in lawns. With the bulb planter, Grandma no longer had to guess how deep the soil was. All she had to do was trust this tool. Number 3. Harvest Sickle. Remember that curved blade always hanging by the barn door? The sickle is one of the most ancient agricultural tools. It is a handheld tool with a curved, serrated blade used for harvesting crops, like grains, and for weeding. You weren't allowed to touch the sickle. This was Grandma's graceful reaper, and she became a wrist flick artist when she wielded it. The use of the sickle can be traced back to approximately 5000 BCE, when the Sumerians grew tired of pulling grains by hand and invented this metal crescent. With a sickle, our grandparents could gather bunches of barley, wheat, or herbs in one arm while slicing stems at ankle level. The kids weren't left out either. There's no way Grandma would hand her sickle over, so they were tasked with Stone patrol, clearing pebbles so the blade never dinged. Number 2. Broadfork. Before modern tillers, our grandparents tilled the soil with a tool that was much gentler, a 5-tined soil whisperer called the Broadfork. Also known as a U-fork or grelinette, this specialized gardening tool was designed for loosening and aerating soil without mixing or inverting the soil layers, unlike traditional tilling. While neighbors roared with gas tillers, Grandpa just planted his boots on the crossbar, leaned back, and let it rip, easily lifting the soil and letting air and water seep in. It was literal soil acupuncture. It was a valuable tool for preparing garden beds, especially in no-till or reduced tillage systems, as it minimizes the disturbance of beneficial soil organisms and preserves soil structure. It also helped reduce soil compaction and was suitable for various soil types. Grandma would use it right before planting potatoes. The sound of tines sinking deep into the ground was the sound of the soil waking up. Number 1. The Scythe. Before the roar of lawnmowers took over home gardens, there was the scythe, a graceful 6-foot arc of polished steel on a wooden snath. This was more than just a tool to complete your Halloween look. It was an essential gardening tool primarily used for mowing grass, harvesting crops like wheat, and clearing unwanted vegetation. The scythe's design allowed for efficient cutting with a horizontal swinging motion, and it was often regarded for its quiet operation, versatility, and ability to work even in terrains where mechanical mowers struggled. While the neighbors fired up their smoke-belching lawnmowers, Grandpa would start at dawn when dew had just softened the grass, swinging it in rhythmic strokes. Our grandparents also never missed a chance to peen the blade's edge. This process involves shaping and sharpening the blade using an anvil and a hammer, which is crucial for maintaining the tool's sharpness and cutting efficiency. Thanks to the scythe, you had hay for mulch, paths cleared, and even the satisfaction of a clean swath, all without a drop of gasoline. These tools weren't just efficient, they were gentle on the soil, the plants, and, most importantly, our grandparents' bodies. They often demanded patience, but rewarded that with baskets heaped high and flavors bursting rich. So tell us, which of these tools do you still have stashed in the barn? If today's video brought back some fond memories, hit that subscribe button and see you in the next one.